As the world's number one safari provider, at least according to Travel and Leisure magazine, which I think that's a pretty good seal of approval there. How have you seen the business evolve over the last 15, 20 years?
Yeah. So I would say about 30 years ago, most of our business was pretty much people that were in their 60s and 70s and retired. Today, we notice that our demographics changed quite often, quite a lot, from the honeymooners that want to do more of a destination honeymoon, a little more luxurious. So anywhere from 28 and up. Our average age today, I would probably say, is about 45 and up. So people are spending time going longer distances and really just doing safaris. They might tag on a little bit for a beach vacation, 2 or 3 days, especially if they're on their honeymoon. But it's over the last 30 years, it's definitely become younger people. And since COVID, we're doing a lot of multi-gen. So quite a few of our travelers are traveling with their grandparents, their parents, their kids, grandkids.
Right, right. We just, the Naples Daily News here in Naples, Florida, did a feature story on us several years back. After spending a day with us and looking at the multi-gen trips that we had planned for our clients, and they put us on the front page of the business section, and I had nothing to do with the title of the article. I didn't even see it until it was printed. But the title they came up with was "Take the Kids and Pick Up the Tab."
Well, like I say to the grandparents, they're spending the inheritance of their children, really. So
Exactly.
why not? Because it's wonderful memories for the grandkids.
We do a trip with all of our children and grandchildren every 2.5 to 3 years, and we've never had a no-show. When Dad or Grandpa's paying, everybody shows up.
Of course. Why would you have a no-show?
And these people come in, they go, well, we want to run all this by our children and see if they're on board. No, you plan the trip, you tell them where you're going, and you will not get a no.
Absolutely. Yeah.
There's a ton of folks that are watching this podcast that have never been on a safari. So can you share with them a little bit of the whole experience, especially the Micato experience?
Sure. So once we talk to somebody and they've decided they want to go out on safari, we ask the questions: why do they want to go on safari? Is it to visit a great city? Is it to enjoy fine wine? Is it to meet the local people? Is it to see the herds of animals? What is it that why do they want to go to Africa? And then we determine what country we should send them to. Once we've decided on the destination, whether it's Southern Africa or East Africa or Rwanda to see the gorillas, we then design the itinerary, usually a year in advance, if not 2 years in advance, especially if we're looking at multiple rooms for multi-gen. We then get them excited on the safari. A few months before they leave, they receive packing information, they receive lists of what books they should read or what movies they should see. And then nearer the time, we send them the goodies. We send them a Micato duffel bag with a handle and wheels. Because when you're flying in the destination, the planes are small, and the soft side duffels are wonderful to squish in the planes. We send them a coffee table book. We send them movies and Micato popcorn. We send them flashlights and hats and luggage tags. So we're getting them excited about the safari. Then they land in the destination, and we have someone meet them right off the flight, walk them through customs and immigration, identify their bags, and then they never, ever touch their bags again.
That walking them through customs and immigration is really high touch, because I remember the first time I went to Africa, I didn't have that. I didn't travel with Micato the first time, but I didn't have that. And it was like, talk about the old song, Stranger in a Strange Land. I was that, and I felt lost as a goose, but you guys make it absolutely seamless.
We try. We've traveled the world ourselves and got somewhere and there's no one to meet us, and we don't have the local currency, and we don't know how to call them because our phone is a US phone. So I think it's been trial and error. And so, so meeting somebody right off the plane makes it really easy. They identify their bags. We then introduce them to their safari director who travels with them throughout. From the moment they meet this person is with them the entire time they're traveling with us. So if they've got any allergies or they're a vegan, it's his job or her job to let the chefs know at every camp, so they don't have to repeat themselves. Right. So once they get to the destination, we take them to the hotel. We have a whole concierge team that's there to assist them with anything, with meals, or if they've forgotten their prescription or they lost their spectacles and so these girls are wonderful to help with all of that. And then you go off on safari. It's usually about an hour's flight to the destination. You fly in these wonderful planes and the pilot will buzz over the animals that are on the airstrip and they all scatter and then he lands and there are the Micato vehicles to welcome you. And you're about half an hour away from the lodge. We get you to the lodge. It's usually little before lunchtime, unpack, freshen up a little bit. Now, if you've got me in your vehicle, it might take a couple hours before you get to the lodge because even though I've done literally hundreds of safaris, it never gets old. There's always something I want to see. So I'll tell you what a typical day on safari is. Okay. Basically, you get up early in the morning. They wake you up at about 6:30. Your room steward will come in with coffee or tea or hot chocolate in my case and croissants and cookies. And then you come down to the lobby and you can have another cup of coffee and tea and you meet your safari director and then you go out into the vehicles. Everybody gets a window seat and in the morning it's a little cool. It could be in the low 60s. And so we ask you to dress in layers. And then you drive for about half an hour or 10 minutes, depending on where the animals are. We don't give them boarding passes, so we don't really know where they're going to be. And then you view the animals for a few hours. You come back to the lodge or camp and it's a full buffet. So it's eggs and bacon and sausages and pastries and all the cereals, fresh fruits and green juices and whatever yogurts. And so you just sit and you enjoy your breakfast. Often at the camps and lodges, the animals are right there so you can watch them. And then usually after breakfast, you go back to your tent. You get out of your safari clothes, maybe put on a swimsuit or shorts or a skirt. And then you enjoy the lodge. You can walk around, read a book, lay down by the pool, and then it's lunchtime. Lunch is usually, again, a buffet, so you can help yourself to salads. If you're like me, I start at the dessert section and then work backwards. And then in the afternoon, you can take a nap, get a massage, and then about 3:30, being a good former British colony, it's tea time. So once again, you're eating. It's very much like a cruise. You're constantly eating if you want. You will gain 5 pounds. Yeah. And then after tea, again, you go out to look for the animals. The best time to really see the animals is first thing in the morning or late in the afternoon. And then you come back, before you get back to the lodge, we do sundowners. So you can sit and enjoy your gin and tonic or
right out on safari.
Exactly. Right out there, watching the sun come down. And often there are animals pretty close that are watching us. They're just intrigued about us as we are with them. And then you come back at about 6:37. I usually take a shower and put on clean clothes, and then head to dinner. Dinner is usually a sit-down meal, usually a soup course, and then fish, and then a meat course, or vegetarian if you're vegetarian, a nice dessert, coffee and cheese, and you're usually in bed by 9:30, because you're up early in the morning. The nights are my favorite time because it is so quiet. There are no lights out there. There's no sirens. There's no honking. All you hear are the animal sounds. And you could hear a lion roaring 10 miles away, and he sounds like he's right next door. Yeah. So the evenings are really pleasant, and most people sleep really well once they get over the animal noises and realize that the animals can't really get to them. Most of the lodges and camps have electric fences, which we can't see. The animals know they're there, so they have no interest to try and come in to visit us, or so that's pretty much a typical day on safari. Now, there are lots of things you can do on safari. You can go hot air ballooning, which is I always say, if you're going to go on a hot air balloon, don't do it in Palm Springs.
No.
Do it in Africa, where you're sailing 50 feet or 100 feet up above the animals, and the only time they hear you is when they hear a loud whoosh and the animals scatter. And then after about an hour, you land, pilots flip over the burners and cook you an English breakfast.